Oxford News this week, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles, and in this week's local news, an accident takes a life, and Oxford residents keep an eye on your pets. And wait till you hear about one young lady's mission to help others.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. A local champion horse was killed last week, and it was reported that the kill was done by a pack of wild coyotes. The horse, owned by Kaylee Rosner Myers of Delano Road, was a 27-year-old Argentine thoroughbred named Ko. Rosner said that Ko was eating when the attack occurred. Officials from the Department of Natural Resources are investigating the attack. However, they're doubtful that it was a pack of coyotes doing the killing. Both the DNR and local wildlife expert Holly Haddock, who is in the midst of a 5-year study of coyotes, says this behavior is highly unlikely for normal small canines. According to Haddock, coyote diets consist of meadow mice, moles, squirrels, and rabbits. The average size of a coyote is 35 pounds and is a deterrent to taking down even a small deer. In addition to DNR officers, they say that coyotes are notoriously shy and would have a tendency to avoid areas where humans live. However, if fed by people, coyotes could become unafraid and unpredictable. Haddock says before pointing a finger at the coyote, the incident needs further investigation. A subsequent Lapeer report states that the pack that killed Ko were wild dogs and not coyotes. As a side note, local wildlife expert Haddock will be visiting our studio throughout the spring months to talk more about the coyote study that she has been involved in for the last year with DNR.
Road conditions were good at the time, but an accident at Lapeer and Ray Roads made television headlines this week as North M24 was blocked to through traffic. A Lapeer man was injured after he rear-ended a semi just north of Ray Road. According to the Oakland County Deputy Scott Patterson, the man's injuries were not life-threatening. It seems like he had some broken bones, and he was issued a ticket.
A local 56-year-old real estate office owner from Leonard, Michigan, Glenda Bisato, was killed in a traffic accident when she lost control of her vehicle and hit another car driven by a 60-year-old Clarkston woman. Bisato was heading south on Baldwin near Indianwood in Orion Township. She was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from her car. The Clarkston driver was taken to a local hospital where she is recovering from injuries.
Well, it looks as though the school board's under scrutiny again after word got out that the Oxford board member Vice President Carol Mitchell was awarded the real estate broker to handle the upcoming private land purchase for the Wayming Education Group. The question of conflict of interest was raised by public interest. Although, as an associate broker of the transaction, it would appear Mitchell would enjoy a financial gain over the deal, the school district attorney said there's no conflict. Since the question of conflict has been raised, Mitchell decided to step down from handling the transaction. The firm in which she is associated with, however, is still handling the Wayming deal. Superintendent Dr. Skilling said that since the district no longer has an interest in providing school property for the Wayming project, he sees no reason that the new property transaction could not be a conflict of interest or could be a conflict of interest for Mitchell or the school board for that matter. The latest property of interest for Wayming is on Market Street.
A newly formed petition drive to get North Oakland Transportation Authority, NOTA, back on Addison Township's ballot is gaining local support. Addison residents, Pat and Joe Schnur, are circulating a petition to put the millage proposal for the bus service on the upcoming May 5th state and local election. The actual petition must be submitted to the NOTA board, who may vote to ask Addison Township to put the proposal to the vote of their residents. The deadline to support ballot language to Oakland County for approval is 4 p.m. February 10th. Last year, Addison Township residents lost notice services when they turned down 2 separate operating millage proposals. The amount, $70,000. If you're interested in signing the petition, call the Addison Township offices on how you can reach Pat and Joe Schnur.
A petition with 256 names stating opposition to the Wei Ming program was turned over to the Oxford School Board last week. Rather than present the petition to the board, President Jim Reese suggested to petition representative Diane Myers that she meet with Superintendent Dr. Skilling to discuss the items on the petition. Reese said that there have been a lot of forums in the newspaper and otherwise where the board discussed the benefit. However, he further encouraged the private meeting with himself and Skilling.
This next story is truly inspiring. An Oxford High School junior, Emily Sovis, wanted to give her mother a special gift by knitting her mittens for Christmas. She completed that loving task, but wait until you see what she did next. Emily attends Oakwood Community Church in Oxford, and one Sunday morning while in church, she thought of an idea to knit mittens for others less fortunate. You might say a gift from the heart. She talked to her pastor and parishioners, and they agreed to help her. Emily, who works for Venditti's restaurant in Oxford, used her own money to purchase sweaters to be used as materials for the mittens. Since she decided her first project of 50 to 100 mittens would go to the Detroit Rescue Mission, she tagged her project program Mittens on Mission. Innovative, huh? Her goal of 50 to 100 mittens was realized with the help of volunteers, and the mittens were all sent to the intended destination with fond appreciation. Next year, with the help of her friends and volunteers, Emily wants to make even more and maybe increase inventory to add scarves. Remember that name, Mittens for Missions, and thank you, Emily Sovis. For more information about Emily's Mittens for Missions, contact the pastor of the Oakwood Community Church in Oxford. Isn't that a nice thing?
That's fantastic. Good for her.
You
It's
know,
amazing. There's a never-ending, wonderful story about the huge hearts of the people of this community, and she's one of them. That's really a great story.
Sometimes you hear about kids that are in trouble or they've got problems,
right.
And then a nice kid like this comes along, and
Find something to keep themselves busy as well as benefit the community.
Yep.
That's really great. You had a lot of news this week, didn't you?
I think we did.
I'm relieved to find out it's not coyotes.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about a pack of wild dogs running willy-nilly in our community, and I'm even more concerned about kids and other large animals, which I've heard before. Coyotes do not go after large animals. They're just no need. They don't need to. There's plenty of little critters out there for them.
And they're really shy of people. I mean, they'll try to stay away from people. Now, wolves, that's a different subject.
Oh, yeah.
You want to feed a wolf.
Luckily, we don't have wolves. We shouldn't be feeding any critters
Shouldn't
outside,
be feeding any critters.
including squirrels, as far as I'm concerned. I try really hard not to. But
How about beavers?
I try not to feed the beavers. They just help themselves to the trees. Good news for NOTA riders or former NOTA riders in Addison, but I thought that wasn't going to come on the ballot again. But I really appreciate Pat and Joe Schnur for caring about the residents of their community. They don't even need that NOTA service, but they're really pushing it. Good for them.
Yeah, I think their township representatives are kind of in a hard spot because, this was put on the ballot 2 times before this. And I think they made the comment that they wouldn't do it again. But I think if they get enough people in Addison Township that push it and want to see it again, very well might get through. It's perseverance of the residents.
I don't think it would hurt to go to the precinct that did not vote for it, and it was mostly one particular precinct. Shame on them, and that's only my personal opinion. Well, but I don't think it would hurt for those people to go. Yes, they do. You're right, and they voted that they didn't want to help the people in their community. But I think that that would be great for them for Pat and Joe or people that are helping with that petition to maybe go out to that precinct and say, look, here's 2,000 people in this community that needed those rides.
I think we as a community, owe it to, be able to help
You're
people
right.
less fortunate.
I agree.
I think that need that kind of help. Don't you?
I totally agree with that. So that's it for news for this week and my opinion. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us right here on OCTV.
And coming up next on OCTV, tune in for our Oxford local sports, then catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. After that, join us with Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kinney.
I'm Terry Stiles, and that's Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors. Thanks for watching.
You're watching OCTV.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kinney, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, the fight against Ebola has turned a corner. There are now only 5 confirmed cases in Liberia, the country's government announced last week, and falling infection rates have reported across the region, with new case numbers halving in Sierra Leone every 19 days and every 10 days in Guinea. The Liberian reprieve coincides with the shipment of an experimental vaccine developed by GSK and Merck and could mean that there aren't enough participants for a large-scale trial to assess its effectiveness. It does seem ironic that the improved response to the outbreak is threatening vaccine development, but it's that improved response that has led to the dramatic decrease in cases, says Jonathan Ball at the University of Nottingham in the UK. Margaret Chan, Director General of the World Health Organization, said on Sunday that the organization is looking to expand its surge capacity, that is to say, its ability to respond quickly to future crises. Never again should the world be caught by surprise, unprepared, she says. And on the biology front, it's alien life, but it comes from Earth. For the first time, we've created bacteria that can survive only if they have access to substances that don't exist in nature. 2 independent groups of researchers have made E. coli that needs artificial amino acids to function. All life on Earth uses 20 amino acids as basic building blocks, combining them to make proteins, the things that enable organisms to actually do stuff. The recipe for loading each amino acid into a protein is encoded in our DNA. Both teams engineered bacteria to be unable to make indispensable proteins such as those for reading DNA and interpreting its instructions, unless they have access to an artificial amino acid. To do this, they recoded the DNA language to make it load unnatural amino acids into the proteins at specific positions. George Church at Harvard Medical School in Boston and his team used an amino acid called BIPA, which is bigger than natural amino acids. Without it, the modified bacteria would make useless proteins with a large hole in their structure that no natural amino acid could fill. The other team, led by Farron Isaacs of Yale University, did essentially the same thing using 3 different artificial amino acids. Microbes that incorporate artificial amino acids and which contain artificial letters in their genetic codes have been made before, but these bacteria are the first to be utterly dependent on human assistance. These are important advances in the field of xenobiology and complement earlier efforts to chemically enslave bacteria by making them dependent on non-natural essential nutrients, says Philip Hollinger at the Laboratory of Molecular Biology at Cambridge in the UK, and developer last year of a new form of DNA called XNA. This not only creates a semi-synthetic organism, but it may prove useful for containing such organisms, he says. The main aim of the work is to make genetically modified organisms that are useful but would be unlikely to survive in the wild or swap genes with wild relatives, the 2 main environmental concerns around genetically modified organisms. What critics of genetically modified organisms want is something where GM is isolated, says Church. That's why we want to embed these safety features to show the bacteria can't escape. It will be a while before genetically modified plants could be made in this way. A more immediate application might be to the upgrading of GM bacteria used for manufacturing medicines, such as insulin, and we know how important that is. In our last story, from stomach stapling to jaw wiring, some of the ways to fight obesity are certainly dramatic. Soon an implant may be on the menu. The Maestro rechargeable system has been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for people who are severely obese and have a related condition such as diabetes. It is claimed to block signals traveling along the vagus nerve between the stomach and brain, reducing hunger. Once fitted, it's adjusted wirelessly. It is due to go on sale in the U.S. this year. The device leads to only modest weight loss, about 9%. That's not a game changer, says Nick Feiner of the University College Hospital in London. More weight is shed after gastric bypass surgery, but Scott Chokra, a surgeon and consultant for the device's maker, Enteromedics, that is to say Enteromedics at St. Paul, Minnesota, says that some people dislike the idea of replumbing their intestines. Well, that's all for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television. We'll be right back.
You're watching OCTV.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. HOSA is an organization of high school kids interested in the various medical professions. This is the first year Oxford schools have been involved with it. Monica Petrus is the teacher mentor for the group. We went to the high school to find out more about what it is and what they do.
HOSA stands for Health Occupation Student Association for Future Medical Professions, and it's for students who want to enter the medical field in any capacity, whether they want to be a physical therapist or a nurse or a doctor, and it's very much like BPA and DECA, but it's for the health professions, and it's fun because it's not just learning about their skill, but they also learn how to be good applicants for the future. Like, for example, they have an event where they demonstrate interviewing skills and other, like, building their resume skills. So it's not just that they can perform an event, but it's also how they would become employed.
Monica explains the group's weekly activities.
And we meet once a week, and I don't have all the skills that they need to learn, so I have to bring in people from the community. So for example, for veterinary science, I had a veterinary tech come in and teach the students who wanted to go compete in that event their skills. So it's not just me, it's people who are in the community that have volunteered to help us.
The kids went down to Farmington High School for their regional competition on January 10th. We're proud to say 25 of our 26 competitors placed in the top 10 and will be going on to states. Matthew Olson shares his thoughts.
Yeah, I participated in HOSA, and I did the biomedical debate, which I had to know both the affirmative and negative side on e-cigarettes. And are e-cigarettes better than e-cigarettes, or are cigarettes better than e-cigs? And I just like the whole experience. I'm like preparing for something challenging.
Megan Krigner was another top finisher.
Yeah, me and two other girls did the public health event, and we made a PowerPoint on secondhand stress. And then we placed in the top 10 too, and we're going to states as well.
Secondhand stress.
Right.
I think I know what that is, but why don't you explain?
It's like, it would be like if you were helping your friend work on a homework project and they were stressed out about it, and then you got stressed out about it, or like if your parents are stressed out, then like the stress comes back to you.
Jordan Zinger was there too.
Jordan and I both competed in the physical therapy topic. We had to know how, for regionals, we had to know how to apply ice packs and how to ambulate using a transfer gate belt. We both placed in top 10. We're going to states.
Jordan Henry expressed his feelings.
The first time going was really exciting. I've never been to anything like this or competed against other people like that.
Was it what you expected?
No, actually, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. The way we did it was we just went in, we did our test first, and I know in states I think you have to pass a test before you go on.
Teacher Monica Petrus wanted to give a special thank you.
Right. And I'd also like to thank, if I may, Andrew McDonald, because he is he teaches at the middle school, but he's been really instrumental in helping a lot of the students. So he's a teacher at the middle school, and he helped the kids with sports medicine and with physical therapy, and I don't think they would have placed as high as they did if they didn't have Andrew.
Okay. Next up is the HOSA State Leadership Conference coming up in April. That will be at the Grand Traverse Resort in Williamsburg. Over 1,800 students will be there, participating in 56 different events. Good luck, kids. A couple of reminders. Applications are now available for summer enrichment programs. Oxford High School juniors are invited to spend part of their summers learning what it's like being public officials who make the laws and policemen who enforce them. You can apply for the Boys State, Girls State, and Student Trooper programs at the Oxford American Legion Post 108. February is Kindergarten Enrollment Month. You can e-enroll online, but you will need to provide 2 proofs of residency and an original birth certificate showing that your child will be 5 by September 1st, unless you get a waiver. You will also need a health appraisal, immunization records, and a vision test for your child, and your driver's license. That's the Oxford School News for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
You're watching OCTV.
Welcome to another segment of the news we call your weekly calendar of events, where we feature your weekly calendar of local Oxford and Addison community events, including charity special fundraisers and general community information. If you or your organization would like help to get your message out to the public, contact us for detailed information at our studio phone number at 248-628-9658, or you can go to our website at occtv.org. Applications are now available for Oxford High School juniors who want to spend some of their summer vacation exploring what it is like to be the public official who makes the laws and the police officers who enforce them. For Boys State, Girls State, and Student Trooper programs, just pick up the necessary forms at your Oxford High School counseling office. This program is brought to you by the local Oxford American Legion Post 108. Bless you, everyone. Meals on Wheels of Oxford say thank you to CJ's Cafe, Ports Nursing Center, and Independence Village for providing Christmas holiday meals for housebound seniors. And a special thanks go out to the Oxford VFW 334, Santa for Senior, and to their local candy angel, Lee, for their gifts and baskets to the seniors. Canine Stray Rescue League of Oxford found homes for over 500 loving pets last year, and Pet Dog Adoption Day is held every second Saturday of every month from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Pet and Stuff Harvest Time in Oxford, corner of Drainer Road and M24. If you would like a loving, furry little addition to your family, Canine Rescue may have just the little buddy for you. To check the Canine Stray Rescue League's website and view pictures of pets for adoption, go to www.dogsaver.org. Sunday, February 22nd, 2 p.m., enjoy old and new bluegrass music as well as old country and gospel songs. Enjoy old-fashioned rhythm and foot stomping music brought to you only by the entertaining sounds of the Creek Boys. For more information, just call 248-628-3034. Regina Woodson, manager for a new AAA insurance agency located at 14 North Washington Street in Oxford, want residents to know that they are open for business. For more information, just call 248-572-6506. If you represent an organization wishing to show your support for our local Oxford school sports, music, concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or an underwriter of OCTV. A promotional television spot would be created and recognition would be given to you by our sports announcers during the event. It's easy and it's inexpensive. For more information, contact our TV station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658, or you can send a message of interest to Bill's email address, manager@occtv.org. Now, we at Oxford Community TV would like our television viewing public to learn more about your club or organization's special upcoming event or charity. So if you would like to get your special event mentioned on our television show, call us at 248-628-9658 or go to our website, occtv.org. Just one final reminder, you can locate our OCTV program schedule by going to our website, occtv.org, and clicking on Schedule. There you will find a list of OCTV broadcast programs, dates, and times. One program I recommend is Bill Service, who always has interesting local stories and interviews on our community access program. Just check it out. This is Oxford Community Television OCTV. I'm your host, Elgin Nichols. We invite you to join us again for the next segment of your weekly calendar of events.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, at a time when other commodities are slumping, aluminum is making a comeback as automakers under pressure to build more fuel-efficient cars increase their use of the lightweight metal. While copper prices are down 13% this year and iron ore has slipped 11%, aluminum has gained 1%. The rise is small but significant, marking an improvement from a year in which the price of aluminum fell to its lowest level since 2009. Meanwhile, producers including Alcoa and Rio Tinto predict demand will continue to rise over the next few years as the metal grows in importance to automakers. Aluminum has long been used in car doors and roofs, but unlike steel, it's difficult to weld, limiting its use in other automobile parts. Breakthroughs in welding technology, though, helped Ford Motor Company produce its top-selling vehicle, the F-150 pickup, with an aluminum body and is opening up its use elsewhere. That's particularly important when the U.S. government target for fuel efficiency is set to rise to 54.5 miles per gallon by 2025, almost double the figure for 2011. The lighter the car, the more fuel efficient it can be made. And at FCA, known as Chrysler, the Jeep Renegade subcompact SUV is Jeep's latest attempt at an entry-level vehicle. In 2006, Jeep, then part of Daimler Chrysler, introduced the Compass and later its platform mate, the Patriot, as a unibody SUV aimed at attracting first-time buyers to the brand. The original combination of front-wheel drive and a continuously variable transmission was derided by Jeep faithful as an affront to the brand's off-road heritage, and sales lagged at first. The Renegade fixes those sins with a powertrain that is peppy, but Jeep says still achieves in excess of 30 miles per gallon on the highway. And the vehicle is rugged enough off-road to wear the brand's trail-rated badge. With prices starting at $18,990, including shipping, the first Italian-made Jeep should help the brand thrive in the competitive subcompact market. The Renegade, arriving in U.S. dealerships in volume by the end of March, will compete against such vehicles as the Nissan Juke, Mazda CX-3, Kia Soul, Honda HR-V, and the Chevrolet new Trax. The front-drive Renegade shifts into all-wheel drive when more traction is needed, with disconnecting all-wheel drive borrowed from the Jeep Cherokee. The two powertrain options featured inline four-cylinder engines, a base 1.4-liter turbo that makes 160 horsepower, paired to a 6-speed manual transmission, and an optional 2.4-liter that cranks out 180 horsepower, mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. The Renegade's three main trim levels, Sport, Latitude, and Limited, all come standard with front-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is a $2,000 option. The top-end Trailhawk trim excels off-road. With 8.7 inches of ground clearance, responsive electric steering, and generous approach, departure, and breakover angles, the Renegade Trailhawk trails only the two-door Wrangler in capability on trails. The Trailhawk comes standard with an electronically enabled crawl ratio of 20-1, enabling downhill all-wheel drive descents without the need for braking. On pavement, the Renegade's handling is responsive thanks in part to rigid steel construction. The subcompact's interior features soft-touch materials throughout, and a full-color display in the instrument cluster provides a variety of useful information at the driver's fingertips, all controlled from Renegade's oversized steering wheel. FCA's US's optional Uconnect infotainment system anchors the center stack with a 6-inch full-color display. FCA US is the new name for the Chrysler Group. On the roof, the Renegade features an optional 2-piece removable sunroof that can be stowed in a protective bag in the roomy rear storage area. The Renegade Limited starts at $25,790, including shipping, and features standard leather seating and heated seats. The Trailhawk version, with its altered front and rear fascias and integrated tow hooks, starts at $26,990, including delivery. Can't wait for those, can you? And on the recall front, Nissan Motor Company is recalling about 768,000 vehicles, including its popular Rogue crossover and Pathfinder SUV, for separate problems, the company and U.S. regulators said. Over 552,000 Rogues from model years 2008 and 2013 will be recalled because moisture could seep through the driver's side floor and cause electrical short to wiring that could lead to a fire. Of the total, 468,800 are registered in the United States. Also, almost 216,000 Pathfinder SUVs from the 2013 and 2014 model years and 2013 Infiniti JX35 vehicles will be recalled for problems related to a secondary hood latch. Of that total, 170,665 are registered in the United States. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.